Hey guys, this is Lance Hightower with the Cryptid Brothers coming to you, and this is the intro that we wanted to give you and what we've been anticipating for a while. What you're seeing is me and infrared. Now, infrared is nothing new. It's been out with a lot of game cameras, especially deer hunting game cameras and wildlife game cameras. But what you're going to start seeing more of, what we're going to do in the field is nighttime hunts, nighttime investigations more. But what's going to be unique about what we're going to show you is that we have an electrical engineer now on our team, and he is developing new equipment just for us for capturing these creatures in live motion. So we're going to be getting audio and video. So Brother Bill is going to show you what's coming next that we're going to show you in the field. Go ahead, Brother Bill.
All right. There we go.
Okay, you're seeing me now in thermal. So we can go between IR and thermal in an instant. And you're going to be able to see in the lower right corner the temperature, and you're going to be able to see me move around. It's pitch black where I'm at right now, and you can see everything that I'm doing. So this is what we're bringing you. We're bringing you new and improved audio, video, not only daytime but nighttime, what no one else is doing. So we're going to have this, our new engineer that's on the team is developing equipment for us, and he's going to design it specifically to our needs to investigate and bring you updated, never-seen footage. So we're looking forward to it, and stay with us. We're going to have some awesome video for you guys.
Hey guys, I just wanted to, before we get going with the episode, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a taste here of what our thermal scan is going to show you. Now, after we got this piece of equipment from our electrical engineer, we stopped at a location that was the first sighting of the Tulsa Dogman outside the Creek Turnpike. We stopped on the very corner. This was late at night. Now, this is the thermal image that you're seeing. This is not infrared, so if there was any heat signature off any animal, warm-blooded animal, it would show up quickly. And so I just wanted to give you a taste of what's to come. We're very excited. No channel that I'm aware of right now has this kind of technology that's coming out. Now, granted, infrared and thermal's been out a long time, but we have a unique piece of equipment that we can switch back and forth. Now, some of you that are pretty savvy, I understand right now you're saying, well, they can see infrared, and you are correct, they can. Now, thermal imaging, they may be able to see it, but not as well possibly. So my hopes, our hopes, is that we're going to be able to pick up their heat signature because we could see it from a distance. As you can see right now in the footage, I was pointing to that tree line. That's about a quarter of a mile away, and there's not a lot of blurriness there. So if there was any heat signature, we could pick it up. So I just wanted to give you a taste of what's to come here soon. We've already been out filming, and we're going to do some more nighttime filming because these creatures are nocturnal, we believe. They have been sighted in the daytime, but nocturnal is when they come out and roam. Now, this image coming up here, you're going to see some deer, and you're going to see the heat signatures off of them just to see how vibrant and how sensitive this thermal really is here. Now, we're coming up on the 2018 Dogman sighting here this past March, and we're going to stop. It was only a mile further north from the old sighting in 2016, but I just wanted to give you a taste of what we're doing and what you guys will be seeing soon. We're going to have a lot more of this type of footage at night. As you see, there's a deer right there. That was a doe. She was in that ditch. We pulled over, stopped. Now it's complete darkness. She's probably about 25 to 30 yards away, but you can see she clearly registers the heat coming off of her. She stands there, looks at us, and then she runs off, and she kind of disappears in that wood line that's about at least 50, 60 yards away. And then we are stopped at this location. I kind of point here in a moment. Right there, and there's a ditch, and then there's a tree line. It gets a little fuzzy for a second. I keep moving it around. My apologies. But right there where I'm pointing is where this creature was seen coming down that slope, that nice manicured slope area, and it was massive coming off there. So I didn't see any heat signatures this night, and again, this was late at night, but we didn't see anything that night. But we wanted to really test this new piece of equipment that we have. We're excited. It can switch back from infrared to thermal. The infrared is going to be mainly for us seeing us moving around so we don't step in a crevice or off a ledge, but we do know these creatures can see infrared. So we're going to try to go more in thermal, and so we're going to do a lot more footage for you guys. We're excited that we can bring this to you, and that I don't know of any show at this point in time that's going to bring thermal to you. And we have, again, this electrical engineer wanted to, he contacted us and he said, Lance, I want to develop equipment for you guys. You tell me what you need in the field and I'm going to develop it for you guys. So you can, for your safety primarily. He's very concerned about our safety because of where we go and how we go out. And he said, but more importantly, in consideration of your safety, you can get these darn things on camera. Get some footage, get some video to show people that these things are nothing to be messed with and that they are very, very real. So I can't thank him enough. He's amazing at how skilled and talented he is. So we really appreciate him and coming aboard with us here. So I just wanted to let you know and give you a little taste of what's to come. So let's get into the episode here. I'll continue to let this run. We're going down the highway here, and we're continuing on the Creek Turnpike. And as this playing here, I just went on the next episode here. We had a gentleman call us some time ago with a very, very bizarre story and encounter coming out of Pennsylvania. And he was a little hesitant to tell me, but he basically said they weren't supposed to be in this junkyard. And he remained in the car while his buddies were out in this junkyard. Again, they weren't supposed to be there. But what was interesting is they had walkie-talkies from in the car and to the guys, his buddies that were in the junkyard, and they come blazing back. And as you'll hear from what his buddy told him, why they hightailed it back into the car, it's quite hair-raising on what they saw and why they came back to the car so fast one night while snooping in a junkyard.
Yes, this was back in when Haley's Comet went by during the winter. I don't know what year that was, but...
Oh, I vaguely remember that.
Okay. And I really don't want to bring this up, but because we were doing illegal things, but the truth must be told to make the story more real. Than I'm going to say that we were in a local junkyard in what do I want to say? Pennsylvania, which is in between Pennsylvania along Route 217.
Okay.
Late night, early morning, 12:30ish, 1 o'clock. Me and my two buddies. The plan was I would stay in the camper, a little camper-like vehicle, and they would go into the yard to get the part they wanted off this car. And they took the little tool bags, and we had those little walkie-talkies. So I dropped them off at the front, and then there was like a little restaurant nearby, and I parked in the parking lot away from all the lights and stuff. And I'm sitting there, and I'd say 20 minutes goes by, and all I hear on the walkie-talkie in a loud, thunderous voice, "Get it started right now! Get it started right now!" And I get on the radio, I'm like, okay. I'll think enough of it. And thank goodness I start the van, camper, and I get in the back. And I unlock both doors, the driver's and the passenger's. They came out of nowhere. There was like shrubs and small trees between us, the restaurant parking lot, and the junkyard. I guess they came straight through all that to get to the vehicle. He gets in, and then the other guy gets in, and we're out of there. We're heading back towards Lake Trobe. I'm like, what the hell? What is it? What's going on? He's like, I don't know. There was something in there. I'm like, what? And I turned to look at the junkyard through one of the camper windows, and I see this creature walking back into the junkyard. I'm like, it looks like a very large, wide old man with a fur coat on. And we get about a quarter mile away, heading into the nearest town, Barry, PA, near the rock quarry. And out of nowhere behind us, this pickup truck comes up with its lights. I mean, this thing even had the bar lights on top. Just,
Okay.
forward-facing kind. And they all come on us. It's black 1 second, and it's bright as day in the camping area where I'm sitting at. I'm like, what the hell? And he comes, he's 100 feet, and he gets close to us, I'll say 20 feet. And he still has his bright lights on us, and he's following us for, a good half a mile. And this is, out back, kind of, open road area.
Mm-hmm.
And he follows us for that distance, and then everything goes black again. He turns around. So we get back to my house, because I was the first one to be dropped off. My buddy was living with his parents at that time by Arnold Palmer Regional Airport, a town called. So he just drops me off, and he said, I'll tell you tomorrow. I got to go get settled down or whatever, and I'm like, fine, okay. He drops me off, and that's when I noticed I see the comet in the sky by the moon. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, I go in, and I think nothing of it. He comes by the next day in the afternoon, and I was living with my parents, and I had my living area downstairs. He goes, we're going to go downstairs. I'm going to tell you this. What happened in the junkyard? I'm like, oh, great. Good. So I'd like to know. I mean, we've done a couple jobs like that, and nothing happened. They come back peacefully with their tool bags and the parts, and nothing. They just left. They left everything there. Their tools.
Wow.
Their flashlights. All he had was the radio in his hand, and he was yelling at it. I can hear him running, high breath, high voice, running, telling me to turn the van on and get it ready. So I go, no, what happened? And this is how it goes. As we were walking up to the car, they had cars, junk cars on both sides, junk vehicles on both sides. As we walked up, we noticed we heard some rustling and, stuff coming from the woods. So, we thought it was deer. We start working on the car. And my buddy, he starts slapping me on the shoulder real rapidly. I turn from the motor of the car to my left, and I see a school bus with no wheels. But he's still not saying anything. His flashlight's still, he's pointing like a dog with his flashlight. And he says there was eye shine, level with the windows.
Ooh.
From the back, on the other side of the bus, like Bigfoot leaned over to see what the noise was. And they figured he was sitting on the trunk or the hood of a vehicle next to the bus. Because, they both looked at it and, they seen the eye shine in the head in a position like, leaning over to look around the corner of the bus to see. He wanted to know what was going on.
Right.
And they both got away from the car, took a couple steps towards it, with their lights. They're like, well, what is it? Who are you? And that's when they said it stood up and faced them. That's when my buddy ran, dropped the flashlight, and started running towards me. The other guy was still there, and he wanted to make sure what he was looking at. He said the shoulders were at the height of the windows, and the chin was, well, the head was just about even with the roof of the bus.
Wow.
It took a step towards him, and that's when he decided to run. Now the junkyard, I'd say it was about a good, 500 feet. They were in 500 feet. That kid caught up to my buddy in order to get to the van damn near the same time.
Wow.
And I said, well, here, draw me a picture of what you draw me a picture. And he drew the bus, and then he drew like the car in the back and the head first peeping out around the corner. And then he drew me another picture of when it stood up to face them. And then my buddy gets a call on his phone from the guy that was with him that night in the yard, like last night. And he says, come over here. I got to talk to you. I got to tell you something's going on here weird. And we go to his house. And he's saying, dude, I'm getting these weird phone calls. There's a voice, a plain male voice, but with a lot of weird noises and weird music in the background. But you can clearly hear the guy say to me, forget what you saw last night. We won't press any charges. Don't say to anyone. Just let it go. Yeah. I don't know how he got the message. My buddy never got a message like that. Neither did I. But we were in his vehicle. The only information they got was off of him.
I see.
And yet they call this guy saying, whatever you seen last night, forget about it. And that's what prompted me to call. And we went out the day after that and talked to a few neighbors and stuff like that, which they said, no, there's nothing strange going on. My buddy, who's the owner of the camper van, he's a real motorhead. He had I think a 72 Nova, built up blueprinted engine in it. And he took some buddies along late night to see if he can see the creature again.
Oh.
They did. They slowed down to a crawl. They're looking around at, in the same area where they were at the junkyard. And he asked the one kid, do you see anything? And he goes, yeah, I see it. And he's like, where? Right behind us. And that's when the creature, as I put it, I'm going to say Bigfoot, put his hands on the trunk and started pushing down on the car.
Oh, man.
My buddy gets scared. He slams the gas pedal, which the tire starts moving and squealing. And according to the guy next to him, the passenger, who's still looking at Bigfoot, the tires squealed so much he grabbed his ears, and that's when he let go of the car, and they shot. They're gone. They go up to nearby, which is 10 minutes away, to the there to get gas and drinks and whatever, try and calm down from this. And the kid goes around the back and he sees the handprints on the car from the dust.
Man.
When he pushed down on the hood or the trunk.
Right.
You can see where he put them down, and then you can see like when you pulled your hand towards you.
Mm-hmm.
He brings the card to me the next morning and tells me the story again. And I'm like, I come outside and I go, what? You mean these handprints? Because they were still there. Luckily, he did not watch the car or anything. He's like, yeah, those are them right there. And you can, I could clearly see it. I'm like, wait a minute, don't do anything. I go downstairs, I grab my Polaroid camera, and I take 2 pictures. One, as is seen, and I take another picture with my left hand to where Bigfoot's left hand was at. And it's 2-3 times bigger.
Sure.
I call and I tell him about it. And I tell him about the picture, and he's like, oh, great, I'll be right down. And I didn't make copies of it. I wish I would have. And I give it to him and the story. And about a few years back, I call, and I always check in with him and stuff. And he's like, I'm like, do you still have those pictures that I gave you, those Polaroid pictures of the guy's car and the handprints? And he's like, no, I lost him due to a flooding accident in the basement.
Oh.
I was like, damn. But nothing else was brought up. I mean, the guys eventually quit calling like in a week's time. Nothing else was heard. But, during the spring of that same year, that's when Bigfoot was spotted again up on the ridge area, like area. Where the lady was like in the garden at night, and Bigfoot was like 12 feet away from her. And then another story was that a lady and her son spotted him in their yard up in there. But yeah, I just wanted to tell my side of the story of my encounter with Bigfoot in Millwood, Pennsylvania. And what really scared me was that this pickup truck came out of nowhere, and with all these lights on it and everything, that chased us.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you thought about that, because I initially thought when you said that, I was thinking some type of a government vehicle, but what did it have on the back?
It had a bar, it had a rollover bar on it, but those were all like floodlights on it pointing forward.
Right. And they were following, immediately when you guys hit the highway, they were right there behind you.
Yeah, they were there like the whole time.
Well,
like they knew about Bigfoot was there.
Yeah, it almost sounds like...
and we walked into something.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
It sounds like they were monitoring the situation or had been doing it, and you just unknowingly got in the middle of it, and they got your tag, or they got your buddy's tag, but surprisingly, they didn't contact him.
This brings up something. When they left their tool bags, I'm pretty sure the guy had his name, phone number, and address, in case he lost it, please return to.
I was getting ready to ask if he had any identification in his tool bag or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was receiving calls, you say, for about a week saying, forget what you saw, and there was music playing in the background?
Yeah, weird music, weird noises.
Maybe not to...
Just forget what you've seen, and there'll be no trouble.
Did your friend question who he was or anything, and did he reply back, or was that...
That's all. According to him, that's all they would say and hang up.
And this went on every day for about a week?
Every day, 3-4 times throughout the day.
Interesting. So, how long ago did this incident happen?
When Haley's Comet came by.
Okay. I remember. It's just, I'll have to do a little bit of research on that.
late 90s, mid 2000s. No, wait a minute. It had to be late 90s, early 2000s, because I was still living with my parents.
I'll have to take a look and find out when that was. Let's see here.
I never got any phone calls, and
last
the way it was
time,
lit up, if they took any pictures, I'm sure they got mine.
I just did a little bit of a quick research on it. It says the last time that Haley's was here in 1986.
Wow. Okay.
Let's see. That was Haley's comment. It said last time was 1986, and then projected to return in 2061.
Ooh. Yeah, I remember the crescent moon and seeing the comment.
And then they said that
when I got out of the guys.
In 1997 there was the Hale-Bopp comet that swung near the Earth in 1997. But if it's Haley's, it looked like this is from Google. It says 1986.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember that, because everyone was, hey, the comet and all this and that.
Right. Interesting. Time flies. So when your buddy drew what he saw, so this thing was at least standing, it sounds like at least around 9 feet at the head, if not taller.
Because the bus did not have wheels. It was just resting on,
Oh, I see.
Whatever. The brakes.
What did he describe it looked like? I mean, it was obviously, it wasn't a man as big as it was, but...
It was covered in fur. It was a larger man covered in fur is what he could tell me. I only seen the back shoulders of it, and those were massive, wide, I'd say at least 3.5 foot apart from shoulder to shoulder. No neck, head, covered in light brown fur.
So, who did he take back in his Nova with him when he went back?
The same guy and his girlfriend.
So there was just 2 of them?
Yes.
Okay. And the picture that you took, you said that there was 2 Polaroids. You gave one to, and the other one went, where did that one go?
They both went.
Oh, darn it. Well, you did right by taking 2, except you want to separate them.
Yeah.
Wow. So since that time, has anyone gone back to that? Is it still a junkyard?
No, it's all gone.
Is it really?
It's all cleaned up. The restaurant building is there.
You know, I've often heard, I've not interviewed anyone yet, but you hear of these sightings in areas that are creepy anyway, like cemeteries, but I have heard, and I can't recall where, it was someone had spotted, it wasn't Bigfoot. They were talking about this dogman creature in and around a junkyard down in Texas. It was one of those junkyards that's off the beaten path. It's not near a huge metro, and it's just kind of like in between towns, and it's acres and acres of just car parts and junk, and you go in there and you find the part, and then you go up back at the office and you pay for the part, kind of thing.
Yeah, we have one like that on U.S. Route 22, just outside of Bill.
Yeah, and
you pull it yard.
Exactly, something like that.
But I never heard anything from that area.
There is a lot of sightings down there, and it's.
I will tell you this. Now that I'm bringing this up, I was recently chronically homeless here in Pennsylvania, and one night last winter, I'll say last July, I was sleeping in the Little League dugout, and about 3:30 that night, So I've done it before there, and you hear things. Even deer would come in from the woods and feed off the lawn mowed field they have out there. It's a soccer field, little league field, but
okay, yeah.
It's a couple thousand feet of clearing, and then you'll get to a little wooded area and train tracks that lead up to the steel mill, and then they have a yard where they put all their processed steel out in the cold yard with odds and ends. There's an old trailer out there and some metal, long sheets of metal out there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out there, I'm finally settling down. And about 3:30 at night, I hear what I call a mountain gorilla growl. And that had been at least 1,000 feet away from where I was at to where it was at out in this yard.
Really?
And I heard it twice. And then after the second time, it threw one of the big metal pieces.
Wow.
And that's when I decided to get up and go walk around. I didn't want to be there no more.
Yeah, I don't blame you one bit.
And when I was walking in, they got a little water creekside trail, public trail they made a few years ago that goes around the creek, but it also goes into the backside of these woods. But as I was walking in, like 9:30 at night, on this trail next to the creek, it drops tremendously. I'd say like 40 feet down into thick brush, old dead trees and stuff, and then it goes to the creek. As I stopped to put my batteries in, I just bought from the Dollar General store into my flashlight. I heard a couple of big branches snap. And I'm like, no, that's not a deer. I know how a deer sounds at night. And that was all I heard was just two big branches snap. I put my batteries in. I shined down to look. I didn't see anything. And so then I went, through the area on this path to get to the Little League field. And then, you usually hear birds, insects. The deers are usually up and, feeding.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. It was dead silence. And the reason why I didn't go back to explore because it was raining all that day and mostly into the night. So it would have been just muddy. And all I had was tennis shoes. And by the sound of those two growls, I would have been no trouble with it, I would have been like a baby seal with an orca. After hearing those tree branches snap.
So
yeah, that was last July.
Wow.
And oddly enough, when I made it into the shelter a week after that, early August, we were at our local here in La, and late afternoon, me and the guys from the mission are at we spot, because you can actually read right off it, the Keystone, and saying State Police on the inside the Keystone, flying really low along the creek bed here, along the Oklahoman Creek here. It would make a couple of stops and everything, and it kept doing this for that half hour, which prompted me to call KDKA Channel 2 News about it. And, the guy asked me, well, can you make out what kind of helicopter this is? I'm like, yeah, it's State Police. It says right on it. You can see the bowl where the camera is. You can see the searchlight hanging off the nose. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. And I go, this is my number. Let me know what's going on if you're with police. He calls me back a half hour later. He goes, well, I called Westmoreland County Emergency Management, and they told me it was insignificant. Insignificant to bring a state police helicopter into the city police department area.
Yeah.
Up and down the creek at about 200 feet altitude.
Was there any missing people in the area? Did they say any flyers or anything?
No, there was nothing in the news about it either. The local paper, the local Tribune, no. Pittsburgh's news stations, nothing.
Wow. Sure sounds fishy to me.
Yeah. Especially when you tell the news guy, insignificant.
Exactly. You know, those are words that... Isn't that interesting how some of these words are... How they use keywords sometimes. Nothing to see here. You need to leave.
Yeah.
Insignificant. It doesn't matter. You know, those are like pickup words. Like, wait a minute. No one in the right mind, the average person, uses those words. If it's...
Yeah, it sends up a big red flag.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I should go check this out.
Yeah, instead of someone saying, well, we're looking for someone right here. Apparently they're lost, sir. So we've got it covered. No worries. We'll find them here soon. You know, something like that. But they've got to say, you need to move along.
Yeah.
So, do you ever talk...
If I wasn't, in the shelter where we had, we had to do certain things at certain times, I didn't have the time to go, down to Legion Park to where the helicopter seemed to be the most at, circling. I didn't have time to go down there to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Had you ever make contact with those buddies years ago at the junkyard?
No, they no further contact. It was like when the creature moved on, so did they.
So I didn't ask you in the very beginning, what's your take on, did you grow up having an interest in Bigfoot, or what's your premise or your thoughts on the Bigfoot creature or dogman creature? And
it all started when my brother and I in the early 70s went to the movies to see the movie Monsters, Mysteries, or Myth. And one of the things was Bigfoot. We were living in Illinois at the time, and they showed nationwide map of reports, and back in that time, Illinois had 26. I never, really caught on interest until that night we were out in the junkyard. And then, I've gone to YouTube and seen other reports, heard audio. And that's what got me there. I mean, yeah, there's Bigfoots out there making these sounds. And a couple of guys out there running around off camera making these sounds, especially when I heard that mountain gorilla growl last summer. I mean, it was a good distance away, and yet the hair on my neck was standing up, and I felt you need to go.
Yeah, you were by yourself, I take it.
Yes.
Had you heard anything like that before?
No. I myself never heard any audio live.
We're sometime here soon we're going to have an episode to talk about yells and howls and screams, and we're in the process of collecting as we know it, real sounds, not online made up sounds, but real sounds that were collected by individuals across the country. And so, who knows? There might be something on there that sounds like what you heard.
I mean, it wasn't a dog. I'll say that. It wasn't a dog. It wasn't a bear. It was a deep, throaty growl.
Kind of a guttural.
Nothing replied to it.
Yeah, thank goodness.
There was nothing. That's an active park. There's geese. There's deer there.
Mm-hmm.
When it was eerily quiet as I walked through the wooded area to get to the baseball field, and the rest of the night it was just silence.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Like they knew it was there, and they didn't want it to know he was there. Unlike me, I'm just noisily walking on gravel and with my flashlight on.
Right. Did, as you know, did your friend that left the tools, or I guess maybe both of them left tools, did they ever go back and get the tools when they went back, when the one went back for the second time?
Yeah, they went back during the daylight, a whole day later, and they were gone. They did it in a way like they were questioning about looking for a part for a car.
As to not give away that they were there nights before.
Right.
Well, I'm sure they'll remember that for the rest of their life when you encounter something like that. I mean, that's just, and that happens time and time again. Whether people believe in Bigfoot or Dogman or not, it doesn't really matter. It happens at the most any time is an inconvenient time, but I mean, it happens when you least expect it. And
yeah, you're not ready for it.
You're not ready for it at all. And it has a very profound effect to a person's emotional state, and it can be for life. And that's why a lot of these folks have a lot of PTSD.
Messed up for life.
Yeah. Yeah, especially up close encounters. It's a little bit different when you see it a ways away, but even one of our buddies on our team, he one of these dogman creatures was about 400 yards. Well, it's still a distance away to the naked eye, but he had a scope. He had a scoped gun that could literally look in the face of this thing, and that's what he remembers, and it frightened him because of the detail he was able to see, even though it was out about 400 yards. It's just...
That would burn into my memory as well.
It did. He said that's the first time in 35 years of hunting predators, coyotes and mountain lions and bobcats, that he felt he was scared. He was honestly scared. And he was by himself. And so when you see anything like that up close that you're just not expecting, which he was not, it has a very profound effect on your emotional state and on your lifestyle.
Oh, your trauma and shock.
Exactly.
I mean, even here, this brings up years. I'm going to say early 80s. We were still living in Illinois, and we came out here for our grandparents for vacation, Christmas vacation. And there was an article in Bulletin warning residents on the road that we lived on, the road between to be on the lookout for this creature. It was literally attacking dogs. I mean, the one dog they described was, a very large, meaty dog, a shepherd, that, nobody really wanted to get around to begin with. And the night it came through our area, this dog tried to take on, I guess, was a wolf type creature. And this creature literally yanked the dog out from his collar because they found chunks of fur and skin the next morning around the collar.
Oh my gosh.
And it was many yards away. They found the carcass of what was left of the dog.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the only time that was ever brought up. It made the papers and everything. They wanted to warn people that troubles in early 80s. Some creature attacking dogs, I guess, if you wanted to look it up. I asked him about it. He never heard anything about it.
The hard part about looking at some of this and these events, of course, they'll happen near small towns or bedroom communities or out in the country, and it's hard. I mean, if you get something reported, it's rare because most people, they're not going to talk about it, and if they do talk about it, code words are going to be dog attack, feral dog attack, hog attack, mountain lion attack, bear attack, that nature. It's never going to be what it is. So you kind of have to see. Now, could it be all those? Sure. But you kind of question. I mean, I have to admit, when I see people on the news that come up missing, missing hiker, missing boater, missing hunter, we know that there's a lot of bad people in the world that do hurtful things to people, and they kidnap people and they mug people and all that. But it's I can't help but part of me goes to, could this be a cryptid event? A David Pilates missing.
Yeah, like that one guy up in California. He said he was how you want to say, kidnapped by a family of sasquatch.
Yes.
And the only way he escaped was that the male Sasquatch actually chewed and swallowed his tobacco. And he made a break for it.
Yeah, exactly. So my mind goes there every once in a while, talking about missing persons, just out of curiosity. And it's in every state. I can't help but wonder, there's a percentage of those people that they just vanished, and it's because of these cryptids. Not all of them, of course,
but too far into their territory.
Exactly. Something happened where they were too close. The Bigfoot or the dogman, I mean, who knows? Lord knows what they were, I don't know. Were they hungry? Were they too close to a family? Were they, I don't know. I mean, you're
like a mother bear and her cubs.
Exactly. I mean, we know how protective we would be, so why wouldn't they do the same? They would. At this present time, do you have a place to stay?
Yeah, so I made it through the 4-month program with the mission, and I'm living in their supportive housing.
Okay, good. I was going to say, how has this shaped you as far as the woods and what you think of the woods now, and if you were still homeless?
I won't go into them. Not around here. Not alone.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you a bit. It's very interesting how things come in cycles. I think in this last week, I've received out of about 20 calls, I think about 8 of them have been out of Pennsylvania, which I think was very interesting. So you never found out who that vehicle was that chased that was right up on you guys, and then they turned the lights out and then they were gone.
Yeah, there was.
You never found.
I knew it was a truck. That's all, because I could from the light bar in the front of it, but I couldn't tell you the color or make, model.
Well, that is a bizarre encounter for sure, especially from your perspective on being the guy to get the vehicle ready, and then hearing what you heard on that walkie-talkie. I bet you those guys were completely ridden with fright. I can imagine hearing him yell and screaming with the, trying to talk in the walkie-talkie, running to you.
Oh, they were a good distance away, and they were at the camper van in seconds.
Well, I'll tell you what, when that fear kicks in and those adrenals kick in, you are bulletproof. You have warp speed. It's like putting nitrous in your gas tank. It's all that blood rushes to your legs and to your arms, and you are in hyperdrive. You can run faster than you've ever run, and jump over fences higher than what you thought you could. So it's pretty remarkable stuff. When the body is under a severe fear fright in
that guy who stayed there to actually make sure what he was looking at, and you give my buddy that much of a head start, and they both made it to the van at the same time. Wow.
Yeah. Never underestimate the power of adrenaline. And when it's just dumped in the bloodstream from severe fright like that or fear, it can do amazing things. But unfortunately, if it wanted to get both of them, it could have easy. There's no way you can outrun these things. They're just too fast.
Gosh.
They're just too fast. Way too fast. A few steps and it's got you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at the strides in those on them.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Part of your best is just staying put.
Even a normal grizzly bear, they can run a quarter mile at 25, 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, well, the crazy thing when it comes to bears is they can run just as fast going uphill as they can downhill.
Oh.
Yeah, they can run extremely fast uphill. So you're kind of smoked both ways. It's just not going to happen if they wanted to get you. And
yeah, you're done.
You're done unless you have a firearm, which, as we always say, it's really smart. Not that you're out like the Wild West, but it's really smart if there is a concealed carry license in your state to always try and carry some protection. If a person can't afford a firearm, fine, or your beliefs, that's okay. At least carry a knife, a fixed blade knife preferably, or something that you can always protect yourself. And if you don't even want to do that, then at least carry some type of a cane or a walking stick. It's something that you can at least protect yourself or give some way to block a dog. And I'm just not talking cryptids here. I'm talking just dogs that can bite you, or, at least give some defensive way that you can put a barrier.
Oh, years before that, during my drinking time, I was cutting through the same part of the Oklahoman trail there. And I came up on a herd, a deer, and the male deer actually charged me. He charged me for a few yards and then stopped and snorted.
That must have been during the rut season, possibly.
Oh my God!
Yeah, people don't realize that if you go in right in the middle of rut, sometimes they'll have two ruts. But if you're right in the middle of a rut, and you are walking through the woods, I have heard a couple of hunters actually being gored by bucks charging them. And when they get during that breeding season, they just get really aggressive, and they lose their sense of fear for sure. So I've heard a couple hunters being gored, and one hunter was stomped. He got scared and dropped his bow and ran, and the deer came back from behind and just they can get on their hind legs, so it just kind of knocked him down and started trying to paw and just beating him just pawing at him. It was crazy. I mean, that's rare, but it has happened. And again, that's in the fall, mostly, right in the middle of the rut. They just get a little stupid and fearless all at the same time. Well, I can't thank you enough. This has been a very interesting encounter, to say the least. I can't thank you enough for calling in and telling this. I've never heard anything quite like it. We're just, my opinion is that we're only getting a fraction of the people calling in. Not just to our show, but if you collectively put all the shows together on YouTube that people call in, it's still a fraction of the people, considering how many, in my opinion, that are out there that have been told not to say anything because of an encounter or something that's still going on. And they'll never say anything because they have been told, like your friend, don't say anything. We can make your life hell. You didn't see anything. Don't talk about anything. Just be quiet. And
yeah, that's what scared me the most.
Yeah. So someone knew something. Somebody was monitoring that area, and it was just wrong place, wrong time. And they were monitoring this cryptid, I guess, and had been. Who knows how long? Who knows if there was a family of them in that area? Not sure, but usually when you see one, there may be others. So they were probably...
You go to Stand Site and Chestnut Ridge area, Ligonier area. They're all up. There's lots of them.
Right.
On this website.
Yeah. There's, and it's you think a junkyard. Oh, there wouldn't be anybody there. But I'm telling you, those are some creepy areas. I've heard of these abandoned farmhouses out in the middle of a wheat field. There's just how you have these old abandoned farmhouses and silos, and you have a cluster of trees around them. Then everything around it is just flat for miles. Those areas like that, those abandoned farmhouses and silos and barns, hey, it's shelter to you and I. It's got a bunch of it probably has mice and rats in it and open windows and no windows and holes, but it's shelter. And if they can get out of the wind or out of the rain, they'll do it. And who goes in those areas? Hardly anyone. So they'll harbor in those areas as a little place to have their family, safety. That's just not our opinion. We've heard that from other people. Very close to townships, too. These farmhouses that no one ever goes to, they just kind of leave it on the property. It was the great-grandparents' house that homesteaded, and they just kind of leave it and let it just fall to the ground. But, it takes years and years and years before that happens. So in the meantime, it's kind of a shelter. Yeah, we've heard that a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
I can't thank you enough. I really, really appreciate it. And if you see anything else strange, those helicopters or anything like that, I agree. That was a little bizarre. You've got my number. You can call anytime. You can call me 24/7. This is my personal number. It goes nowhere else. I don't answer. Just you can text me too, and I'll get right back with you. I'm kind of up and around, and when you share, it really helps the mentality. You realize that you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not thinking different. You're not bizarre. It's just that you saw something that very few people saw, or you experienced something that very few people get to experience. Not that that's good necessarily. It is what it is.
I'll say this. When I called to report this to at the shelter, a couple of days he called me back when I was out back in the rest area with the other buddies. And he goes, well, we have reports in that area of something going on. And, you're not the first one to report anything. It's been going on there lately. I'm glad I had somebody credible like you to call in about something like that.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Just taking the time to sit down with me and share, and having the courage to explain this and tell us what happened.
Welcome.
I always hope that it made someone feel better to share. We're kind of in that group we call the knowers, You don't. We don't judge people because we've been judged before, and people think we're a little nuts. But we know these things have been out. We know there's people trying to conceal the identity. They have been for years, and not everybody's going to be truthful if they're looking for it. If they're in some type of authoritative agency or position, they're just going to, go about your way. Like we said, there's going to be code words that just kind of clue you in. Right. So, blessings to you.
They're alive and well in Westmoreland County.
Yeah. And they're everywhere, too, in every county. Everybody says, well, which county in Oklahoma? Pick one. They're in every county. I mean, just throw a dart on the map. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it. And call me anytime if any updates or anything, or you see anything that's a little strange, buddy.
Alrighty, will do.
All right. Have a pleasant evening. Stay warm.
Oh, yeah. You too as well.
All right. Blessings. Take care.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.